Hey guys, it's John back with another anti-guru video, and well, it's been an amazing day for your anti-guru. What can I say? It's been insane. We've had a ridiculous number of changes announced today, and as promised on Facebook, as promised on our workshop series, as promised on the White Box Mastermind, I am doing a sequence of videos going through the regulations. And because there's going to be a lot of disinformation, there's going to be a lot of fake information floating around there, a lot of misinterpretation, I think I'm doing it with the regulation in front of me, with you in front of me too. So join me in a few moments' time where we go through this together. So, of course, I want to go through this with you. I'm learning as I go as well, and I'll give you my interpretation of what's going on as we go through it. So let's start off with how this has happened. This has come about as a result of a number of different things being mooted by the government. It's a reaction to coronavirus. It's a reaction to, I'm afraid, planning authorities just being too lackadaisical, too controlling over development, rightly or wrongly. And that's why we've got this alteration as we have it now. Now, importantly, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewer, this is permanent and it comes into force on the 1st of September. Now what I'm about to go through with you is vital to understand for the 1st of September. If you like this video, please like it, share it, get the bell on, because there's going to be 3 more videos after this one dealing with these changes. And importantly, share, because everyone needs to know this. If you're in property, you need to know what's going on. You cannot rely upon your professional advice right now. You need to know. This is on a need to know basis, and you need to know. So let's deal with this. First thing to say is the 1st of September. Where does that come from? Well, it comes from paragraph 1. These regulations come into force on the 1st of September. So we don't have long to wait for the world to change. The zombie apocalypse has happened, and now we're going to change the regulations as well. 1st of September, everything I'm about to say to you comes into force. The next few sections are all about definitions, what is called and what. And the one following that is revocations. Now, when you revoke something, you take it away. And in this case, what they're taking away is parts A and D of the use classes order. Part A is your retail uses, and part D is your non-residential and leisure uses. And we'll go into that as we go through. Part B, which is your business uses, is also severely modified. Let's move down. So a lot of these clauses are essentially about saving clauses. What's happening to the GPDO? What happens to prior approval, either granted prior or being submitted now? What occurs in that case? They're called saving directions. And they're not as interesting unless you're going through that prior approval. Right, there's a lot of changes in regulations coming forward, and it's important to understand these changes and where they apply to them. But what we want to get to is the meat and potatoes of the subject matter. Para 7 is really important because what it says here is that on that 1st of September day, if it's in these classes, it moves to the new Class E. That's what happened. And it is as if it was always being used in the new Class E. So let's really get into this then. Let's get into what's changing, what's happening. So let's move straight to the amendments and go straight in to Class E. Now, we used to have 4 classes of the use classes order. We're still going to have 4 classes of the use classes order. but they are going to look very, very different indeed. And these regs are massive. They change not only parts of the general permitted development order, but they change parts of Class B2 as well. It's very, very big what's going on. The bits that are left behind from A, as we're going to go through from that Class A retail, are dumped into sui generis. So the bits that are left behind are dumped. Paragraph 6 for the schedule will substitute Schedule 1 and 2, and after subparagraph O, which is the sui generis part, dump in public house, drinking establishment, hot food takeaway, live music performance venue, cinema, concert hall, bingo hall, dance hall. Dump all of that. Now let's get into the Class E, because this is big, people. This is big, my friend. It's huge. Now remember, of course, let me just deal with what the Use Classes Order does. The Use Classes Order defines for us what a material change of use is. So if you're going from the old Class A to Class B, or Class B to Class C, or Class D to C to Class D, that was a material change of use. Anything inside a class is not a material change of use. So now you understand that. Let's look, dear viewer, at just how many uses are now no longer within that not a material change of use class. Shops, cafes, financial and professional services. So A1, A3, that's B, they didn't put it in the right order, and A2 are all now subsumed into Class E. Indoor sport, recreation and fitness, gyms, sports centres, not involving motorised vehicles. So sorry if you've got a go-karting track indoor, that's outside of this distinction, as is a paintballing centre that's indoor. But otherwise, they're all now in Class E. Medical and health services. So doctors, dentists, counsellors, psychiatrists, they're all now in Class E. Creche, day nursery, day centre, they're all in Class E as well. Office is in Class E. Research and development is in Class E. And the old Class B1C, any industrial purpose being a use which could be carried out in any residential area, that is also now in Class E. Remembering, of course, you do not need planning permission on the 1st of September or thereafter, because it would not be a material change of use. It falls outside of the definition of the development on that day. So we have a new Class F, F1 and F2. You need planning permission. These are distinct, so you need planning permission to shift from F1 to F2 and back again. But let's look at these. F1 deals with the learning and non-residential institutions, that left behind from the loss of D. They include schools, universities, art galleries, museums, public libraries, public halls, places of worship, and law courts. That is F1. All that was left behind by D. Class F2 is brand new, and that is the local community use. This was the government trying to protect really important local community uses that were vital for the functioning of the community, or what they think are vital for the functioning of the community. That includes shops where it's less than 280 square metres and there's no other facility within a kilometre, 1,000 metres, of the shop's location. Otherwise, it falls into the new Class E. A hall meeting place for the local community. That's kind of a duplication of a public hall, but they've added the use of the words local community, so, a parish hall. Area or place for outdoor sport or recreation, so football pitches and stadia. And an indoor or outdoor swimming pool or skating rink. Not entirely sure why they're distinct from other health and recreation uses, but they are all in F2. So we now have these two new parts, F1 and F2, dealing with the protection of community uses. Now, I think that last one, F2, is really interesting because now we have a definition of what a community shop is. And it is a shop that is less than 280 square meters in size. Really, really interesting stuff from our government. So where does this leave us, dear viewer? Well, I did say when I ran my predictions and looked at all the research that this was going to be the summer of Boris. And if this is anything to go by, then, well, it most definitely is the summer of Boris, isn't it? This is the biggest shake-up of the use classes order since the 50s, since the bifurcation of the residential uses, since the amalgamation of B2 into a superclass, B2 through B7, to be precise. And this is actually getting closer and closer to the planning system of the 50s, the original instituted planning system, where it was simpler. And that's kind of what the government wants. Boris is a politician who does what he says he wants to do and executes it with efficiency. Now I know mine, as long as a number of other professional bodies have been critical of Boris and these changes. They think they're too radical. As I said at the beginning, I think it's a reaction. I think it's a reaction to the fact that we need change. We have to change the way the high street works. We have to react quicker to changes in business. If COVID has taught us nothing, it is that. So, dear viewer, what do you think? Like, share, subscribe, comment please. I'd be happy to answer whatever comments you have. I've shared the regulation with you, as I will do so in all of the following videos looking specifically at these regulations. Have a great day, great evening, whenever you are listening or watching this. And watch out for the 1st of September. The starting gun has been fired. Let's see who's first to the finish.